Hi everyone, I'm going to do an art journal page today, and I almost forgot about my journal that's made from just paper bags. So that's what I'm going to use today, and because it's stitched, this journal, I like to, when I'm doing a double spread, I like to cover the middle with a masking tape. And the only thing I'm going to do first is just take white backing of a paper napkin, and I'm going to cover this double spread. I'm planning on using paper napkins on top, so I like to have all my background covered with the same texture, and I love the texture of paper napkins in the back, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use just diluted white glue. That's what I use for paper napkins. This is 2/3 white glue and 1/3 water. And I'm going to do it off camera, and it will take some time to dry. Now I'm not really concerned about how to glue it, and I'm also going to scrunch it so to get rid of the straight folding lines, but otherwise it really doesn't matter, and I will just add another piece here so everything will be covered. And just so you will see, I'm going to start. I'm using soft flat brush with the glue. I can cover everything, or I can do it little by little. It really doesn't matter. Like, I'm starting here, putting it down, letting this have wrinkles so it would be interesting, and I will have texture, and I can continue like this. After I'm covering everything, I'm going to go over like this again with the glue to flatten the wrinkles that I've made and to seal it, and always using the flat of the brush with a lot of glue so it will slide on top and not tear whatever you have, the paper napkin, and so it won't drag on and tear whatever you've done. So really easy, and I'm going to continue off camera, and I'll be back. Okay, so it's mostly dry. There are some spots that are still a little bit wet, but I don't care because I'm going to paint all over it with acrylic paint. At the most, the reaction between glue and acrylic paint, I will have a crackle effect, but so I don't care. And I've got some cream colors, some cream, some sand color, and some, I don't know what it's called. It says pastel pink, but it looks like cream with a hint of pink. And I took these colors just so I will have variation. And while I was doing this, I wanted some hint of green in my background, and I was thinking to try something. First of all, I thought maybe to put some of this distress ink. This is forest moss, and I'm thinking because this reacts with water, maybe it will react with acrylic paint, and I will have some kind of a greenish hue in some places. So I wanted to try that, so I'm just putting here to see what will happen. And another thing is I've got this greenish a soft pastel or chalk pastel, whatever you call it. This also can react with water, and so I was thinking to try this. And let's put some here and we'll see what it will give me. I'm taking a brush with a little bit of acrylic paint, and let's see, and a little bit of water. It seems like there is some kind of a reaction, so I don't know. And if not, I can always add some a greenish hue later on, or just mix it with the acrylic paint. I'm using the sand color towards the outside. I haven't cut the excess paper napkin yet. I'm not overly concerned right now with this because I knew I wanted to paint over everything. So just moving on to the next paint and just letting it mix with the other shade of the sand color. I really don't care. And well, with the chalk pastel I don't see any reaction. The acrylic paint is too heavy. I think maybe if it was diluted more with water I would have seen more reaction between the chalk pastel and the acrylic paint. I can also go on top and add some color, so just wanted to see how it will work. So I'm just covering my page and don't really care about it, just mixing the paints. I'm adding a little bit of water each time to my paintbrush because I've got texture and I want it to get into everything, and it also helps me do some blending in between, so I won't have harsh areas between the colors. I don't know if you can see the difference between the shades, but it's here, and I don't like to have one solid color. It just doesn't look organic. So I'm just changing in between and letting everything mix or blend in between. I think I will go with the sand color over again, so it would be, no, maybe it's better this blended look, and I can always darken the edges later when everything is dry. The only thing I'm doing is just making sure that I'm covering everything so it will get into the texture. Otherwise I really don't care, and if you're adding water it's just easier. I'm not adding a lot of water because then my it would be translucent, and I'm not looking for translucent or a wash color. In other cases I like that the brown paper is showing through. This time I'm not looking for it. I want this cream color in the back. So that's that. Just covering. It looks like nothing yet and like a mess, but that's okay. I'm just taking a little bit more of the sand color, which is a little bit darker than the rest, and I'm going to go around my edges while everything is still wet. Again, don't know how much of it is shown, but there is a difference between all these colors. Yeah, okay. So again, needs to dry completely before I'm doing anything. I'll be back. Okay, so I've got my background. This is just the start, just the base of the whole background. And usually I add all the visual texture and all kinds of elements right away. This time I want to build around what I want to have on my page. And this is the paper napkin that I've decided that I wanted to use, and I'm building around this. I wanted to have I've picked this first of all because it has a white background. Paper napkins with white background are just great. The white this becomes transparent once you are using white glue, and it disappears into the background. So I wanted to take one image of this here like this, and another one on this corner, and to build around it. Now to take your image out of the paper napkin, and I already removed the two other white plies, and that's what I used for the texture in the background. So to remove whatever I want from the paper napkin, I'm taking a fine brush with water, and I'm going around the image like so. And now by just gently I'm separating it from the rest of the paper napkin like so. So here I have one, and I have the next one here, again going around with the brush around. Just like this, and pulling gently. And you can also go like this, so it won't pull on something that you don't want to. Sometimes even with using a fine brush, the water spreads on the paper napkin, and then it can tear somewhere that you don't want to. Okay, so I've got these two that are going like this in each corner, and I picked two more paper napkins. I've got this one. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use this two, and I've got this one. Again, this background is a cream color, so it also going to disappear into the background, so I'm not worried. And also because my background is already in this cream color. Again, not sure I will add from this one. First of all, I want to just add here these two images. I'm planning on adding some stamp in the background, and we'll see as I go. And I want to add a hint of green, but again, first I want this to be in place, because I don't want because it's translucent, I don't want anything to interfere with my image. Lots of time I don't care, and a lot of time on other kinds of backgrounds, if I want my image to be more visible, I will put some white acrylic paint behind. Here I don't need to, because it's on white. The paper napkin is white background, and the cream color in the back is something that I wanted to. Again, just make sure you are working with flat soft brush, and it's better to work from the inside towards the outside, and just make sure you've got enough glue so it will glide and not tear it, drag it. Yeah, so lots of glue, and it will take time to to dry, but it's worth it, and it will look like it was printed on this page. That's one of the things that I like with working with paper napkins, better than, I think, just me, that it's better than all those designed rice paper. I think these are more organic. I don't know why, but if you've got images on rice paper, then go for it. And you don't even have to have paper napkins. You can decide on any image that you want to use, and then you don't need to be concerned about translucent being it being translucent. I could have taken an image from a magazine and put it on my page and not be worried about something showing through. Okay, so I need this to dry because I'm not sure if I'm adding something from this or from the other paper napkin, and so I need to see how it goes. I'll be back. Okay, so I've waited for this to dry, and then I took parts of this paper napkin and played with the placement until I had something that I liked. So here it is. Really doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of using paper napkins, that as you can see, it just goes into the background. So now that everything is dry, I want to add some stamping to create more interest in the background, especially that here it's kind of blank. And also I want to add some let's say shadowing of certain areas and introduce some green and blue hues to the page. I was almost going for brown, but if I will go with brown, then this will get a vintage look, which I'm not looking for today. So again, now you can use many things, especially you can use the distress inks. Just activate them with water and go in with a brush wherever you want to add some color, or you can use watercolors, you can use sprays, whatever you want to do. I've picked this broken china and evergreen bow. I thought this will add some interest, and as I said, I also want some variation to the color I've got on the background, and I also want my edges to be darker, so that's why I'm using this, and I'm using it quite freely. It really is it's not something precise, just going very freely and adding it to my page in certain places. Also, like if I've got all the flowers here, I can go in between and put a little bit, and it will create more shadow to this area. Shadow doesn't have to be black or gray. It can be anything you want. It will, and by darkening some areas, especially edges and in between your elements on the page, you are creating a more dimensional look to your page. So that's one thing, and I'm using this both this ink pads because I want, again, I'm never using one color. It just creates more interest that way, and it doesn't matter what I'm using, if it's this or if I'm using watercolors or sprays. Just playing There are no rules here. As you can see, I'm going about it very quickly. Just adding from time to time more water to the ink that I've got here, but otherwise that's it. Anyone can do it. And of course, if you want to take it to a vintage look, you just use browns. I've thought about using the blue and the green just because that's the colors that I've got here, especially with this paper napkin. So I thought it will look good. Really liking what's going on here. And the more water that you add, the softer it will look. So when I'm getting inside the page, I'm using less and less of the ink and more of the water, and that's how this also blends nicely. I need a little bit more. Not everything needs to be blended, but here I wanted a softer look. So that's how I'm going about it, and adding more water towards the inside. And I think that makes all the difference. I can also go and randomly put a little bit on the inside, just so everything will start looking more cohesive. That's what I was aiming at the beginning, but sometimes it's better to do it at the last layer. Yeah, now I'm really liking this, and I want to also stamp a little bit. I like text stamp in the back. You don't have to stamp it all. If you don't want to, you can leave it as is. I'm going to use this evergreen board with this stamp. I'm not worried about being precise. I'm just using it as a hint in several places. You can hardly see that it's text, and that's fine by me. Yeah. Maybe if I'll bring it closer, you can see some of it. Yeah. So I've got my stamp, and now I have some words that I wanted to put on my page, and I'm also wanting to, I've got some new stamps of butterflies that I thought of using here. I'm not sure yet which one I'm going to use. I think this was ordered from Temu, and I'm not endorsing any platform, just what I have available to me. We'll see. So my words that I want to use is, well, I've got trust your instincts, creativity takes courage, and just keep going. I'm thinking they are going to be here, and I want them like, I don't want them straight, I want them like this, I think. And I want a butterfly here. So let's see. Maybe this one is too big, I'm not sure yet. Maybe this one. I'm really not sure. I think I'll go with this. This one is a little bit more subtle than this one, although it's really tempting to use it. And what I'm going to do, because I've got all this texture, I'm going to stamp on top of a white backing of paper napkin. That's how it's going to blend into the background. So let's take this out. First time using it, just got it. And what did I say I'm going to use? This one or this one? Decisions. It's all about decisions. I'll take this one. Okay, so I'm going to put it on acrylic block, and I don't want black. I want something dark but not black. I'm thinking dark green, and for this it's better to use something in permanent ink. I've got Olive Grove from Memento. Maybe this will do the trick. I hope so. Now, sometimes you can use things like distress inks for this, but then it's supposed to be, if you're hitting it, and letting it dry completely, it's supposed to not react anymore with something that has water like glue. But I don't want to risk it, so I'm going with this, and I'm going to stamp it on a white backing of a paper napkin, and let's hope for the best. Maybe also like this, you know, missing a little bit here. I really want a fine print of it. Most of the time I don't care about things being precise, but just for this butterfly I would like it to be a fine print of it. So just holding it, and even with ink pads that are supposed to be permanent and not reactive to water, you need to let it settle for a few minutes after you're stamping, so it won't react with something like glue. I'm just letting it soak into the yeah. Oh my, this is beautiful, better than I thought. So let's see, where was my very fine brush so I can take this out of the backing? Never mind, I will take another one. Water. I need to go over my brushes and just get rid of the ones that are ruined. I've got brushes from I've got some brushes that are like, I think 3 decades, yep, from the time I was in the university, and some of them are just that's it, enough. They need to go. Okay, so I'm gonna let it sit for a while, and I'll just see how I'm going about. Oopsie, it touched something watery and it reacted. I don't know if you can see it, but it reacted here. So I'm going to print another one and then figure how I'm going to put my the words exactly. I think like this. I'll be back. Okay, so this is it. Here is my butterfly and the words that I wanted for this page, and I'm really happy with what is going on here. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for leaving me comments down below. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.